I'm so excited for this.
I'm a very opinionated person, and I was talking to my wife earlier. She's like, "You think you're right?" I'm like, "Of course I think I'm right." I wouldn't believe what I believe.
Welcome to this week's episode of Catchin Hell, the podcast. I'm here today with Phil.
Hello.
And no Robert today. He's at work. And our good friend Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the
Thank you.
studio. He's super impressed by the studio. Wives, I know you're listening at this point. Pay attention, okay? He walked in.
Beautiful up here.
He was wowed.
The big mouth Billy Bass sets it off, bro.
It ties the room together. It's like the dude. It's that rug.
Yeah.
So, we wanted to have Ryan in because he's an awesome guy. And the relationship that we have with him, I think Phil's is more than mine is, but Ryan is dad to 4 awesome kids, husband to 1 awesome wife, and does way more stuff than the rest of us ever could imagine to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it that way.
Here's the dad part.
Here's the dad part.
You do.
She's been quiet up till now.
That's awesome. Did you get that in your Happy Meal? Yeah. Awesome. Give me a fist bump.
Is that Monopoly?
It is.
They brought that back?
Not that.
Oh, okay.
It's just a toy.
A toy.
Did you finish your food?
Hey, go play on Betty's phone, sweetie. I love you.
That's
of course when it starts.
And that's perfect. I'm so glad that happened.
Yeah.
I love it.
She's 4 of 4, right? The other 3 are in school?
Yeah.
Okay.
She'll be in school next year.
Yeah.
We will have an empty house for the first time in many, many years. And we don't know what we're going to do with our time. Yeah, we do. We're going to probably sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep. You'll be doing remodeling projects.
Yep.
You just did your floor like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah. Just redid the floor.
She's not going to like it in a year. It's going to have to change.
Right. Oh, well, I'm sure. Well, yeah, we can talk about flooring later. I would not go with the same system that I went with. But that's on another podcast.
That's all right. So I think one of the reasons why I'm excited to get you on here is, we've known each other for 4 or 5 years through sports, church, friends, just kind of what you do around town, and mutual friends too. But it's always like Ryan is super dad. You're always the guy who's coming to support your kids that are in games, but you're not just coming by yourself. You're carrying everybody's chair, and you're always bringing kids with you because that's just
it's life.
It's life. It's awesome. And so I'm excited to kind of just dive into what it is that makes you the Superman that you are. So we'll just kind of dive right into it. So how did you first of all, you are a police officer, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And newly promoted?
Newly promoted, yes.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. I'm excited about it. Fun opportunity that, I've always enjoyed leadership, and we can go into that later on if you'd like, but I'm really excited about the new opportunity.
That's awesome.
It'll be, I'm excited about it.
Have you started that yet?
Yeah, so I officially got promoted 2 weeks ago. So I have two incredible weeks of experience where I know it all now. I've gotten it all figured out, and already made some mistakes, already learned some things, but it's a lot of fun.
Is it still the same police work that you love, added with some of the clerical stuff, or is it?
Yeah, so the fun part about being a sergeant in a police department is it's a lot of supervision. There's a lot of administrative duties that go along with it, like staffing levels, grading reports, and making on-the-spot calls. But outside of that, I'm really just floating in between different officers' calls, and just I'd like to think that I'm not sitting there critiquing, that I'm more of just being another asset if they need help. We gravitate towards the more the calls that are more serious in nature. Not necessarily the simple criminal damaging complaints or things like that, but the ones that have greater risk attached to them.
Right.
So
And it sounds like a lot, but being the type of guy you are, that's not the only job you have. Correct. Yeah.
Correct.
What else are we doing?
So I am. What is today's date? Is it the
15th?
Today's the 15th.
So I am 7.5 months away from a retirement with the Army Reserves.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. Yeah. Hit that applause.
Yeah, I've loved it. I love the unit I'm with. Great leadership, great troops that I've been assigned. I couldn't have asked for a better experience, but it's time for me to go.
Yeah.
I'm excited to close that chapter and
that's a long time. 20 years.
simplify life a little bit. I've loved it though. It's been a really good experience.
So were you in right out of high school?
Yeah, I was 17. My mom and dad had to sign for me. They had to release. I actually enlisted 2 weeks before September 11th. So I enlisted in a
Did you know something was coming or what?
I definitely did not. I enlisted August 28th, 2001. And planes hit the building. And it was like, wow, my future has changed quite drastically.
I mean, the ink's not even dry on the contract you signed. And
No.
So go through that process. How much time were you over there or in the Army in general before you went to
Yeah,
reserves?
when did you go? You've been over there, right?
Yes, I went over. I only did one tour, although Uncle Sam tried to send me back over this November, which is, I didn't want to finish out my contract in Syria.
No.
I was hoping to kind of chill out for the last year. But no, I enlisted when I was 17 and turned 18 in October. So entered into my 18th year of life considering war. And that was something I really didn't even think about prior to. And when I enlisted into the Army, I went in with the full understanding of, man, it's been 10 years since Desert Storm. It seems like we're on a 10-year cycle. So chances are something's going to be kicked up over the next, 6 years. And then September 11th hit, and the talk of terrorism, war, they started sending troops to Afghanistan. And then I went to basic training July 2nd, 2002. And then March of 2003, we thought we were going to get activated. And we didn't. I believe it was clerical mistakes that we didn't get activated in 2003. But in 2005, I went overseas and spent 16 months active and then a year total overseas. So it was 360 days. So 5 days short of an exact year. But
Iraq, Afghanistan?
Iraq. I was in Mosul, which is northern Iraq, actually outside Mosul, in a smaller little community called Q West, Al Ghayara West, which is about an hour south of Mosul. But I say Mosul kind of like, if you're talking to people from outside Ohio, you say we're from Cleveland.
We're from Cleveland.
Right.
So, but I went all over the northern part of that country, served with some incredible guys. We had a lot of fun, saw some crazy things, but overall, I'm very grateful for that experience. It's followed me a lot in life. Some ways good, some ways bad. But yeah, and then I didn't do another tour since then, which, we had a few scares here or there, but I'm grateful for it. I'm glad I got that one tour under my belt, and I'm glad I've been able to focus more on family. So
You mentioned some of the good. What is some of the good you were able to kind of pull from that?
Just knowing that, first off, being part of the team. I'm very humbled to consider myself a veteran. I remember hearing stories from my grandpa. My grandpa didn't tell a lot of stories really until I came back from war. But he'd give me little tidbits here and there, and I just remember respecting him immensely. And so to be even to be considered in the same breath as a man like that, it's I feel like I don't deserve it. But what was really cool being over there was just being a part of that and being part of these large operations that you had to do it together.
Yeah.
So what I did overseas, we did convoys and convoy security. And so our convoys would consist of 30 to 50 vehicles, depending on how many like civilian trucks rode with us. They had different numbers. It was like a 1 to 5. So if you had 5 military supply trucks, you'd have like a gun truck. So we'd typically run with like 20. They called them green, 20 systems, and then 4 gun trucks. And we could carry like 20, 30 civilian vehicles in our convoy. They called them TCNs, third country nationals. They were people from like Somalia and a bunch of other random, mostly African countries, like Northern Africa, that would run in our convoys. They'd also be from like Turkey, some Middle Eastern countries, but they'd run in our convoys. So just being a part of that and doing that together was very special. And, it's a big, there's some heavy thoughts, obviously, that are associated with war, and it's very therapeutic when you hear other people telling your stories, because when you experience trauma, your mind wants to talk you out of it, like almost like it didn't really occur. And so I can tell the story 100 times, but I could lie to myself. I could fabricate these own thoughts, and that's the battle that your brain goes through. I'm like, am I making this up? And then you hear someone else tell the story, and it's like, it's very validating. But just sharing that moment with those guys, and then we had fun. One thing that we would do is when we were on Humvees, like if you're the gunner, you'd crawl out of the turret and try and grab onto one of the antennas and like put a pop bottle on it, and we're going down the streets of Iraq where bombs blow up. And then there's other stupid nights where we'd tie. It was like 3 a.m. Half of the people that weren't on mission were sleeping, and we're tying chem lights, where you crack them, chem lights onto 550 cord and throwing them up in the air, and they're smacking onto people's rooms and everything. It's just so stupid, but you just have to do what you can to have fun and get by. So we had a lot of fun, mixed with some hard experiences.
You mentioned that your grandpa never really talked about it, and I know the type of kid your oldest is. I think he's the type who's probably on the more mature side of the group that our boys run with.
Absolutely.
I always tell everybody that I coach with, because I've had your son on my team like the last 4 years. Yeah. And every time we add coaches to that group or play against other players, other teams, the coaches will make mention of him and how they're just surprised by him. And I'll say it all the time, like I'll take 10 of him over a mixed group of stud athletes that are just a problem to deal with.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his, and I kind of understand how he thinks. So is it easier for you to talk with him about stuff since he's getting to that age where he could maybe put some of that towards things he's going through?
Are you talking about my grandfather?
No, your son. Right. So it was difficult. You didn't get much from your grandfather on it, but is it easier for you to talk with your son about it?
Yes, it is. And I think that was part of their generation, is where they struggled alone. Yeah. And I think our generations are in tune more with our emotions, which I think can be a good thing. There's a I love the term shadow side. So everybody has good in them, and we all have bad. I don't want to be defined by my weaknesses, just like my successes aren't also the only thing that defines me.
Right.
So that's a term that's newer to me, but I'm a big fan. But I want my kids to know my struggles. So in 2015, I was diagnosed with PTSD, which was a humbling and really, honestly, it was a very embarrassing moment in my life. Because I like to think of myself that is all it is, man. Obviously, I'm being facetious in that. But, as a man, you want to be able to overcome any struggle that you're going through.
Like, I can deal with this.
Yeah, you can deal with it. And realizing that, man, I don't know how to deal with it was very, very difficult. So our kids are going to experience hardship, hopefully, not extreme hardship. Mm-hmm. We all try to protect them and guard them. But I think I looked at my grandpa, he struggled alone in all that. And so I try and be more in tune with that and share that with my kids, because I'll snap on them, and it's really embarrassing. Like driving, and I hate this. I rebelled against this because I didn't want to be the cliche veteran that was like, oh, I don't like fireworks. I can't drive. I don't. There are some things like fireworks. I love fireworks because I know they're coming. They don't scare me. Mm-hmm. And to feel the concussion reminds me of bombs, which is actually kind of therapeutic because, again, it's reminding me that, yeah, those things really did happen. It's not just something it's not a story you made up.
Right.
So I'll snap at my kids while we're driving. Like, I've learned about myself, I want it to be perfectly quiet. I want it to be calm. And they can be laughing, having fun in the back, screaming, and it makes me so angry. And then there's guilt associated with that because I'm like, I just snapped on my kids for having fun. You suck at being a dad.
Right.
And so, like, I've told them, I'm like, guys, I am sorry. Like, you don't deserve to be snapped at. We should be quiet. It shouldn't be insanity in a vehicle, but I shouldn't snap at you. So part of that is I want to instill in them empathy towards me, knowing that I'm just not a jerk dad.
Right.
There's these things I'm dealing with mentally, and I'm trying to.
Right.
I go to counseling, and that's been very beneficial. And
just taking the step to say, like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah,
is I think a big thing. I do that. I yell at my kids all the time, way more than I should, and I don't step aside. There are times when I really lay into them though, and I pull them aside. I'm like, listen, you caught me at a bad minute. We'll get back. Yeah. We'll get over this. Whatever. And to hear that you're going through that, and
it's funny you say that because the last 24 hours I've felt like shit because I exploded on Jace yesterday morning. So we're going to the bus stop, and I had to go into work. So usually I would take them into school, but they had to ride the bus. And we're at the bus stop. The bus is coming, and Jace is like, "Oh my god, I don't have a mask," and Jackson doesn't have his mask either. So I whip it around and I go fly to the house. It's only like 5 houses away. Jackson runs into the house and Jace is like losing his shit. We're going to miss the bus. We're going to miss. I'm like, no, you're not. Yes, we are. And he's in my face, like screaming and crying.
I can imagine this.
I'm like,
I'm picturing it.
Dude, like,
I'm picturing all this happening.
Sit down. We're going to be all right. And he just says, okay. I'm like, oh my God, I feel terrible. So Jax comes flying out. They get to the bus. Get to the bus stop. We beat the bus there, so we're all good. And I grab Jace before I left. I'm like, dude, I love you. I'm sorry. We're good. Have a great day. And
remember your mask tomorrow.
So the first thing Jace said this morning after he got out of the shower was, I'm going to wear my mask.
Yeah, dang right you are.
Yeah.
We had that the other day.
Oh, man.
I've been off, so I'm laid off right now for the rest of the month. And I'm catching a little hell from Lindsay because she doesn't know what to do with me at home.
A little?
I bet.
Yeah, she kind of unloaded on me a little bit last night. I was like, what's wrong? She's like, I don't know what to do with you being here all the time. Anyways, so in the morning, it's that, do you help or do you not, right?
Right.
I, for some reason, have not been able to fall asleep when everybody else does. I'll lay there, take me 2 hours to fall asleep, but then in the morning, I'm out. She gets up at 6 o'clock, gets her coffee, does her workout, gets the kids up at 7, blah, blah, blah. They do their thing. They leave the house at 8. The bus picks them up at 8:05. Jackson the other day, I was laying in bed and I could hear her, like him upstairs. He was doing something. I don't know what he was doing, but it was taking forever. He comes downstairs. He's like, I don't know where my shoes are. We're like, why aren't they by the door? And so now Dad is like Angry Bears up. And I'm like, what is going on? Why aren't your shoes where they're supposed to be? And I'm like, Jackson, if you miss the bus, you're walking to school. Like, and he was like, I'm sorry. And I found the shoes after he had the other shoes on. And I was just like, okay, I didn't need to do that. And he got home. I was like, I'm sorry. But tomorrow, put your shoes by the door.
Shoes by the door. Yeah, same
Getting
spot.
kids off to the bus drives me crazy. So we had last year, Madison, it was like rush. At the end of... Sorry, I just had to scoot up for the mic.
You can move the mic closer to you.
Lounging.
They move.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Oh, yeah, look at that. We're good. So
It's that fancy studio we're in.
Yeah.
But then I feel like I'm licking it. So it's,
That's the same problem Robert has. Robert feels like he's swallowing.
I'm not a pro. You guys are like
He'll sit there.
perfect posture, sitting there. I'm like,
We're just used to it. He'll sit there like this, like, I don't like this.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah. So go ahead. Sorry.
So Madison, it was a battle. The last minutes, it's where are your shoes at? Why don't you have your shoes on? Why don't you have your coat on? There wasn't a mask back then, but it was like just this rush. And so Jen and I were trying to navigate, like, how do we parent in this? Because we were like, are we going to make her walk to school? It's a lot harder for us to walk to school than it is for you. You're right around the corner. It would have been like a solid 3-mile walk.
Yeah.
And so we came up with the solution. You know, she has her little dollars laying around. And it was, if you make us drive you to school, which she did, we made her pay us $3, $5, something like that, $1. And because you want to teach them consequences, because if I'm late for work, there's consequences. Mm-hmm. So how do you create consequences without, traumatizing them, making them walk 5 miles to school?
You don't want to be that parent that's on the...
But it drives you crazy, though, because you're just like... Nothing changes. Every day, 5 till, your shoes are on, you're walking out the door to go to the bus stop.
Every day. That's the other thing that drives me nuts about being at home, is they are just like in this routine. So back to my story is, when I feel like I get involved, I mess the routine up. Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, I told her last time, like, would you rather me just lay in bed until everybody's gone?
That'll piss her off even more.
Exactly. So... I'm trying to understand that they're in a routine, and at 8 o'clock, I'm like, you're going to be late for the bus. When really it's 3 doors down, and it comes at like 8:12. She's like, we're fine. I'm like, you don't have your shoes on yet. What are you guys doing? Just laying around on your iPads. I'm like, the bus is coming. She's like, not yet. And I'm like, it's just how I am.
There's certain things that I can't do without my phone. Like, I can't go take a shit without my phone.
Yeah.
But, that's kind of it. For me, I can set my phone down and walk away from it. Those kids, every time they eat, they got to have an iPad. Every time they're dressed and ready, waiting for the bus, they got to have an iPad.
We told Ben to take a load of laundry upstairs the other day, and he tried to carry a basket with his iPad in it up the stairs. I'm like, dude, put it down for 3 minutes. Go put your laundry away.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Our morning routine is me, because I have the flexibility. I could go into work whenever.
Yeah, it's nice.
Pre-COVID, I could go in whenever. And I've been working from home since last March. So I'm the morning routine, and Courtney's out of the house. She starts at 6:30, so she's leaving early, and then I'll wake up and get the boys dressed, ready for school, blah blah blah. And she's kind of made comments like she misses not being able to do that.
Right, yeah.
Do you come from a big family?
I come from a family of 3 plus 1.
Okay.
So same mom and dad. But my sister was 16 or 17. I was 15. My little brother was 12 when we had the bonus baby of Reed. Okay. So I grew up with a brother and sister. And then when I was 15, they added another brother. So big family. I mean, kind of compared to today's standards.
Right.
So... yeah.
What about your wife?
She comes from her sister is 6 years older than her, and her brother's like 6 years younger.
Okay.
Or 4 years younger, I forget. But
was 4 always in the cards
for us?
Yeah.
No. We
you want to think about that answer first? Or?
No, we love our neighbors, the Reitzels. They are such a blessing to us. They live right across the street, and our kids are always, they're either in their snack drawer over at their house, or they're jumping on our trampoline. They're always running back and forth. But they had 3 kids, and they found out they were pregnant with the 4th. They didn't intend to have 4. So I was like, Joe, you're having a 4th. Now you're going to have the baby. Not even 6 months later. We found out. So I walked over with my head hang low, and I said, Joe,
I think I owe you a beer.
We pulled a Reitzel. No, we always wanted like 2 to 4. I think that's what we talked about. But after our 3rd, we were like, you know what, we're content with this. And I delayed in getting the old snip, and
Rookie
mistake, and lo and behold, Jen's like, Ryan, I think I'm pregnant again. Took a test, and I'm not even joking. It was like we saw a ghost that day. It was like, we thought this was done.
Diapers and car seats, and
then
what's the age difference between your third and Morgan?
19 months. It's
okay.
Yeah, so our first two are like 19, 20 months apart, and then so was Carson and Morgan.
Okay.
So they're really, I mean, it's basically two. So, but man, I couldn't imagine life without her now.
Right.
She's awesome.
Blessing in the end.
Biggest smile. She's just a smile at everybody.
Oh, she is. And we'll be in the store, and we'll be, in line, and she'll look at some lady, and she'll say, "You are so beautiful."
That's awesome. In the world we're in today, be a Morgan.
Yes.
That's my takeaway for today's. Be a Morgan.
Yeah.
No, she's fun, though. I couldn't imagine now. It's a lot of fun.
So what brought you to Lorraine Amherst?
So, being a police officer,
Okay.
I wanted to be a cop. I lived out in the Akron-Canton area for a few years when I decided that I wanted to pursue being a cop. And then a department in this area opened up. And we love the Amherst area. It's just such a balance of a big enough community that you don't feel like, it's not a one light town where you blink and you drive through it. But it's affordable, great school system, and great downtown. We love Amherst. It's just a fun little community. We actually live up in Lorraine, and we love Lorraine too. I think it's a city that's definitely on the uphill rise. 2020 kind of kicked it in the tights, but still some good things are happening downtown. So, but my job as a police officer brought us up here.
You've been a police officer for how long?
10 years.
You had your oldest before you moved to Amherst?
Yeah, we were in Akron.
Okay.
We were in Akron, and that was a huge blessing too, because
how did you land there? Because you guys aren't from there, are you?
No, we met at school. We met at Malone University in Canton, Ohio, and when Jen got a job with a church in Akron, so it took us to Akron, and then, oh man, that was 2008. So in 2010, we got pregnant, and I was working at a hospital as security, trying to get into the law enforcement world. And this is a crazy story. So my son was born with a thing called gastroschisis, which is where his stomach and intestines, he was born with his stomach and intestines on the outside of his stomach. Okay. So he was rushed to surgery following birth, and then spent 4 months in the hospital. And what was awesome was we lived downtown Akron, and we were within walking distance of the hospital. And this is a very it was Akron Kids, Akron Children's, and there were people coming from Youngstown, all over to have medical help there. So it was a big blessing. And then Morgan was born when we lived in Sheffield Lake, and then the other two were born here.
Okay.
Yep.
So after the issues with Ryland, then once he was out and in the clear, made the move.
Yep.
Westward.
Yeah, because
you said you did security work.
Yes.
Before that.
Yes.
Just trying to get into it.
Like loss prevention or bouncing or.
No, hospital security.
Okay.
And it was fun. Honestly, it was a really fun job because you deal with a lot of drunk people, and we had a
kind of prepares you for the world you're trying to enter.
I mean, you try and rationalize with drunk people, and you just can't do it. And then we had a psych floor, which was very interesting because I mean, these people were experiencing. You would see the extreme case of like bipolar and schizophrenia, and it was just very interesting. I never had been. I've never seen that world before, and so it was interesting learning how to talk to those people, and just it was a way that I could wear a gun belt and a security uniform, and just one little, dipping one little foot into that world. So I was really grateful with my time, but I was glad to leave. I was glad I was passionate about becoming a police officer, and so it was good to finally land that job.
Was your first job with the police department on patrol, or?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I spent 3 years on patrol, which was a lot of fun. I did night shift, and night shift's a lot more interesting than day shift. It really is. It's unbelievable how there can be two completely different dynamics in a city, just because night and day. Now you can have some crazy stuff in the daytime, and I feel like when it's crazy in the daytime, it's real crazy. Mm-hmm. But for the most time, night shift is where it's very just consistently crazy. And then my 4th year, I spent with our, it's a street crimes unit, and learned a lot there, served with some really good guys. My boss I learned a lot from. He really taught me a lot. And then I spent the next 5 years, well, I got on the SWAT team that year too, which was also a lot of fun. Yeah, got some good training, good equipment through that. And then the 5 years after that, I was with the narcotics unit. So that was my dream job. I loved it. Got to wear blue jeans to work, and T-shirts, and grow a beard out, and that's not common in the police world. So, yeah. And then for the last year, I've been back to the road.
What made you leave narcotics? I know
There units like that you shouldn't spend your whole career in.
Yeah.
A, because you burn yourself out. B, you give other people the opportunity to get that experience. And then C, since I'm going alphabetically, you can take that experience and share that with other younger officers. I didn't grow up around a lot of drugs. I saw weed a few times in high school,
Yeah.
but that I didn't have just an understanding of the drug world coming into being a cop. So I had to learn all those things. There's a lot of different aspects of law enforcement that they just don't come natural. So like you think that a police officer should be a master of all aspects. OVIs are a lot different than drug work, trying to find drugs. And just because people are very protected, rightfully so, we're very protected in our, what the Fourth Amendment has protected, whether that be a vehicle, whether that be your home and your yard. There's so many laws that govern police officers and what they are and are not allowed to do, rightfully so, and I'm very, very glad. But when you're dealing with drug users and drug dealers, they're not just going to be very honest with you and just say, "Oh yeah, I have a quarter kilo in my trunk and I'll hand it to you and thank you, sir."
Right. That's not mine.
There you go.
So I had some really great mentors, some fellow cops that taught me how to type reports, how to do things legally, how to talk to people, and just kind of that was always what I wanted to do. I always wanted to become a narcotics detective, and without their mentorship, I wouldn't have been able to make it. I wouldn't have been able to hone those skills. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was. And I'm excited about. I enjoy. I've always gravitated towards leadership. I've always enjoyed it. I'm very analytical of it because I think a lot of people do it flippantly. You guys have both coached my sons, and I think that is a form of leadership. And I've seen really good coaches, and I've seen really bad coaches. Ryland's rec league baseball last year. There was just coaches that I saw, and I felt so bad for the kids because there just wasn't development. Mm-hmm. And I've been so grateful that Ryland has had coaches that have developed. They see what he's capable of, and they push it. And I've been so appreciative of you guys and how you marry tough love and encouragement. I think it's easy to neglect one of those. And I think if you neglect either, you don't push them as much as you should. Mm-hmm. And so, as a sergeant, these times are very tumultuous and on a lot of fronts. But I enjoy trying to create environments. You talk about like Stefanski coming into the Browns, and you talk to Joe Thomas would say it was just a losing mentality.
Right.
Where it's just acceptable to lose. And so you need a coach that comes in and says, you guys are great. You guys are pros. You have the ability to be NFL superstars in this league. Let's go out and get that. And so I really, I could rebel against the times, but I'm really looking forward to being able to learn how to thrive as cops in this time where we are respectful. We're still aggressive towards crime and not necessarily people. And I'm excited about it. It's a new opportunity that I want to do well. As one thing that I think about as I'm trying to develop who I am as a police sergeant is I've talked to a lot of sergeants. I've talked to a lot of, and that's in the Army, that's in the real world, coaches. You're only as good as the soldiers, the police officers, the kids that are following you. You can have the greatest intentions in the world, but if it's not perceived or felt that way by your subordinates, if you will, then it's really
for nothing.
It's for nothing. I've talked to some leaders that I don't respect very much, and they'll tell me, what their intentions are, and I'm like, man, that's a really good intention. Like I take the time to listen to people, and I'm like, those are all really good things, but your subordinates don't see it that way. So what I say about myself doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. What matters is what my higher ups think and what my subordinates think. I don't like referring to them as subordinates. It sounds very degrading, but like my reports. Soldiers, like my soldiers, that means a whole lot more to me what they're saying about me, what my higher ups say about me, than what I'll say about, because I think I'm freaking awesome. I think I knock everything out of the park. No, I don't. But it doesn't matter what I say about me.
Right. I think that's a problem that we have in this society right now is a lot of our leaders, all they care about is what is their perception, how they're perceived.
Yeah. And
we're lacking people like you in all roles to say, I need to reflect on what the people that got me here or the people that are helping me get to this position feel about me, and what do the people above me, even when you get to get political here, the guy at the top, he doesn't have anybody above him, but it's a lot of me and not a lot of we.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when your two jobs, your two professions are something you're super passionate about. And in today's world, you almost have to be quiet about being passionate for the police group and the military group, because A, it either starts a shitstorm argument, or B, people look at you and say you feel certain ways because of the groups you support. And it's so toxic, and it's my concern with it is there's going to be more people like you, younger people like you, that see what's going on and not get involved and not try to be that change, and the change never happens. So it's just, part of why I enjoy conversations with you is because you do get to see the good in people and how there's still, good police out there, tons of them. There's way more good than there is bad. But in a profession where it's almost not okay to have one bad, just because of the authority and the situations they can be in to really affect people's lives. That's super difficult to be up against. I'll never stop supporting police. I'll never stop supporting the military. I feel terrible for the shit you guys have to go through. You have to. It's almost like you have to prove I'm a good guy instead of just being known.
Instead of you just being the good guy.
Yeah.
Well, right. And I think you hit on it too. Is the reality is in leadership, any form of leadership, I believe there's going to be a natural rebellion by some people, but being a leader is very, very important. Again, whether that be a coach, whether that be a pastor, whether that be a politician, there's there's reasons why, if I was to go out and do some, if I was just a regular civilian and I went out and made a bad decision, it's not going to draw near as much attention as like a high-ranking politician is. Right. And what you said, my fear is that good quality candidates will be afraid to be a cop, and that's a real fear. But on the same token, I hope the added pressure keeps the kids that just want to carry a gun and a badge, and Yes. I pray to God it keeps them out of the profession, because we can't afford to have those bad cops. And I think society has forced us to look differently, and I've chosen to look differently as cops. And it was scary at first to, have everybody like the anti-police rhetoric. It hurt me because I care deeply about it and I want to be a good cop. And my fear is that if I make a really bad mistake, it's going to be blasted all over media, and I'm going to be humiliated. I'm going to embarrass my department, my wife, my everybody. Like, I'm afraid of that. That's something that I understand the weight of what I do day in and day out. And I pray to God I end my career on an honorable note and not getting fired for losing my cool. I've lost my cool on the job. I get really frustrated sometimes. But I think the reality is, it is a very important position, and when we make mistakes, there's huge ripple effects. And something I am also really passionate about is I was born as a white man in America in a suburban middle to lower class home, and so I have the lens that I view life through. And I've talked to a lot of our black brothers and sisters, and my heart goes out for them. I want them to know that they are every bit equal in the society that I am. People can argue all day. They don't have the fair shake that you or I do in society. You can point your fingers at what that is, who's to blame, when is it to blame, or whatever. But the reality is, like, I'm very passionate when I'm working on the street, being respectful to letting those people know they are seen and loved, and I'm trying to do the best. All I can control is what I can control, and what I try to do is, if someone's angry at me because I'm wearing a gun and a badge, it hurts sometimes, because I'm like, man, I didn't do that to you. Mm-hmm. But I understand. Mm-hmm. I get why there's a mistrust. And so what I try and do is put another little coin in their pockets of, I don't like cops, but that one was really cool. Planting that seed of not doubt.
They're not all bad.
But giving them a good interaction where, man, that dude heard my anger, and he was very respectful. He was kind. I don't know what are the answers moving forward, but I'm listening, I'm learning, and it excites me, because I think, when a lot of the anti-police rhetoric popped up, my first reaction was like defense. It was arguing. It was this, and all it does is get a headache, and nobody ever changes their opinion.
Doesn't solve anything.
And this is kind of my stance on politics, or really anything debatable. It's just like, I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen. I'm going to try and understand where you're coming from. I'm going to validate. I want you to know my opinion, my belief in it. But when I put my dukes down, when I put my fists down and I listened, it's so much easier. And I don't lose sleep over it now. And it excites me to be part of the change instead of just trying to win an argument.
Right. I'm glad you said that, because I was sitting on the couch this morning because I had anything else to do, drinking my coffee, watching the news. Say what you will about whatever news that's on TV, but it was just on. And I kind of had this thought that was like that, where it's like, I don't want to be the person that sees a new incoming administration, because that's all they're talking about, and immediately want to go to fighting. Like, I want to go and figure out, okay, this is the change that we have to deal with now in this part of our life, 2, 4, 6, 8 years, whatever, and figure out how can I make this the best that I can make it. The instinct, it seems to me, is that our for the pulse of our country is to immediately throw your hands up to fight, and
That's so toxic.
It is. It drives me nuts.
Yep.
And like you kind of hit it on it earlier, Phil. You were talking, with Ryan being police and military. I could imagine like telling certain people that they're already just going to lump you into one, group without sitting down and hearing what you have to say or what your thoughts are. Like you said before we started, you could talk to 4 different policemen, 4 different military guys, and they're all going to have
absolutely
a different take on it. We're not all the same. Just sit down and talk to each other and realize that you don't have to be so angry about everything. You're letting things that aren't even anywhere near us control your emotions.
Yep. And I think what we do too is, and I was guilty of this, and I can still be guilty, and I try not to, but when we're talking about debatable topics, it's easy to listen. And Aaron, you could give me a 30-minute dissertation on your argument, and I might agree with 95% of that. But as soon as you stop talking, I'm going to attack that 5% I disagree with.
Right.
So now it creates a further gap between being able to find similarities or find ways that, like, oh, we both want the same result in this. We might disagree in how you get from A to B, but in my communication, whether it be with my wife or anybody else, like I try, and we're trying to teach Morgan how Maddie's going through the stage where she will argue back and she'll talk over us, and it's like, let us finish and then we'll let you talk. And Jen and I are trying to navigate how to deal with a almost 10-year-old girl and love her well in it. But I think the art of saying, man, I hear you, and then speak what you heard, whether it's what you agree with or not. Because most people, I know me, you can disagree with me, just let me know that you heard my argument, and then I'm not an idiot for what I think. And I hit on it, whether it be any debatable topic. We could talk about religious topics, we could talk about political topics, we could talk about police. I don't think I'm crazy, but I have my perspective, my lens, my political beliefs, my religious beliefs, my convictions that influence
how you got to here.
How I got to here. Just don't tell me I'm stupid or crazy.
Right.
In that. You can tell me you disagree all day, and we'll go down that path, but validating, and I think when it comes to like politics or religion or anything, just hearing like, man, I hear you. That makes sense why you think that. Here's my perspective is a lot better than instantly coming at it with, this is the 5 reasons why you're wrong.
And but it's so tough because both sides, you want to just look at it politically, like both sides have gone so far.
Yeah, there's definitely a divide.
It's more than divide. It's like we're not even on the same planet anymore, and you just kind of get grouped in. I watch people we know, me and you know personally, that we either go to church with or have gone to church with, go at each other's throats on social media about somebody's opinion and then somebody disagreeing.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is going on here? You guys, this is terrible.
I just sit back and just shake my head at like, how did we get to this?
Yeah, all about people that don't know us, don't care about us, and will never do anything to help us.
No.
Right, yeah.
We are not part of their political agenda.
No.
It frustrates me. It's very discouraging.
Yeah, and
I think what I don't like is being lumped into a one of two categories.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
because
I've got like most people, you have beans in each jar.
Yeah,
and some beans aren't even in any of those jars.
Yeah. You talked on it though. Like I've said this the entire time, maybe since the George Floyd thing, because that's the one where I saw that. I'm like, that's super fucked up.
Oh, absolutely.
And I took the stance and the approach of, I'm a early 30s white male who has never been discriminated on for anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm completely ignorant to what these issues are. So I'm not forming an opinion other than that's fucked up and shouldn't happen to anybody.
Yeah.
And educate me. So I have some friends that I've talked to anytime issues come up, because like my youngest was watching the TV. I was watching the riots were on the news right after that. And Jace came up and said, do the people not like each other because of their skin? And it's like, okay, TV off, time to have a conversation.
Right. Yeah.
So we, I'm taking the approach on skin color means nothing in this house and means nothing to you because it's the type of person you are. And I have a friend, he lives in Shreveport, Louisiana, that I met through golf. And he had just told me that his youngest daughter asked him, Daddy, why do all the white people hate us? And after Jace had asked me that question, a couple days after he got asked that question, I texted him. I said, can we FaceTime with our kids?
Yeah.
And just let's talk.
Yeah.
And we did, and it was one of the coolest things that we've ever done. But it was good for me because here I am thinking, like, we have to be careful of what we're saying, and we have to be careful of what we're teaching our kids.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on the other side of things, he's trying to tell his daughter she shouldn't be afraid for her life.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something I've ever said to my kids.
Never.
And that's not something
And
I
to
would
that little
imagine.
girl, that is her reality. And
Yes.
that's where people would come at her and say, "Oh, that's not true." But it's like that to her. That's what she feels. That's what she. So how do you acknowledge, like, man? And that right there, it shows, like, how does a little girl say, "Why do they hate us because of our skin color?"
Right.
And
That
you
blows
not
my mind
say,
in
and then you not
2020.
say, "Man, we still have a
2021.
long way to go as a country. We still have a lot of bridges to build, a lot of minds to heal."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it kills me. There's times where I get frustrated because I'm like, why is that even a thought anymore? Like, that is just, it breaks my heart that we still have. So it breaks my heart, but then I get excited to be like, man, I look at the way. I mean, I remember growing up with hearing straight racism, and then just very, oh man, dude, I really care about this topic. I really want to do this well, because I feel the pressure of my job, and I care about it, man. I love those. I love. It's exciting that we're having these conversations as a country, and I think this is where change will come. We are society is a train, a slow moving train that is impossible to turn around. And when it doesn't directly affect you, then you don't think it should affect anybody. And, I appreciate you having that conversation with him, because like that girl's reality is her reality. That's what she feels. And the only way to change that is for kids like Jax to say, you are loved. Like, mm-hmm. I love you for who you are, for the character, for your character, and not just because of your skin color. And I don't know what all the answers are, but I want to be part of the solution, not the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So
walk a mile in another man's shoes is something we don't take into consideration at all.
Because it's so easy not to.
Right.
Yeah, it's easier. And it's confusing to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with in a pandemic, you can't really sit down and have these conversations with people. So it's all through social media. It's all text, which has zero context.
Yeah.
So you can't put any meaning or anything behind what you say. And people are never cautious of what they say and how it could be perceived as.
You're right. Yep.
That's because everybody would type something that they would never say to that person
for sure
in their face.
It's just, and you know what? You know who's the biggest culprit of all with that is the fucking president.
Right.
In his Twitter account that's no longer...
Right.
If he could have been a voice for unity instead of...
Missed opportunities.
Yeah.
Missed opportunities, yeah.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast this morning, and they were talking about just if it would have stopped here and focused on the economy and the right that happened in the economy before the pandemic, and handle the pandemic however you want. I don't think it would have mattered. The distrust was there from November of 2016.
Oh yeah, there's definitely that
But-
factor.
Missed opportunities
Yep.
to leave a legacy of whether we were one term or not. You were still one of 45 at the time.
Yeah.
So be the light, be the leader that you were called to be, and whether it's your turn is up or not, you did your best while you had it. It's the next guy's chance. Let's support and try and make them. That's the thing. Like you see it with all these other former presidents. It's so weird to me as an adult to like see them all get together now, and they're all just like buddies, and you're like,
wasn't that fucking crazy?
right? I mean, there's
You were just slinging mud at each other
Yes.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah. And now they're playing golf together and shit.
exactly. It's so
It's
weird.
all a show,
Makes me
man.
wonder how much of it is just show.
It's all a show, dude.
It is.
Because that
It's all to make the machine keep working. That this side has to change what that side messed up.
and president-elect can sit there and say, well, I have my plan for the first 100 days and how we're going to attack this virus, and it's been mishandled from the beginning. Why are you not saying what your plan is? If it's such a better plan and more people are going to be saved, why is it a secret until the 20th? And people are just eating it up, and I'm done like getting in arguments with people about people who don't know me or care about me or my family or anything. There's just there's no point in it. You get pissed off for no reason.
I don't want to feel that anger or like rage within me. It's like just put the thing down and go read a book or like enjoy. I know it's hard here. It's raining. It's going to snow today.
Yeah.
Northern Ohio kind of sucks, but go outside and enjoy the weather.
Yep.
Do something.
I wish that what we would see in politics is, hey, again, acknowledgement. Hey, you guys did these things really well, but we really disagree on this part. So, but there is, again, no acknowledgement of, hey, the Democrats did that really well for 8 years. Hey, the Republicans did this really well for 8 years, or 4 years. Now let's try and refine it. Again, it's that polarizing, and I think 2020 there has been so much communication through Facebook, and I'll tell you what, man, even just dealing with like kids are growing up in that world so much more than we are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see how that is going to continue to play out in their lives, because it's not going away. It's only getting more and more.
Even with them being in school right now, they're not socializing.
No.
They're wearing masks. They're socially distant. They're not hanging out in groups together. They're not doing group projects. It's like their only communication with each other is through the internet when they get home.
Yeah. When they're playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
Right.
Screaming at kids and getting cussed out by old men.
Dad, I got a headshot. You're like, I don't want to.
Don't say that.
We don't need to talk about that. Like, Jackson runs in. I sniped him. I'm like,
watch this replay on Madden.
Yeah.
can we please just play something where we don't have to kill each other?
It's when you say be part of the change that you want to see. I think that was why we got involved with the football program to begin with.
It's huge.
Too,
Yeah,
because
it was sit on the sideline and bitch about the guys that are running it.
Right.
Or be one of the guys everybody bitches about, which they do.
You guys should hear what I say about you behind your back.
that's okay.
I'll be embarrassed now.
Aaron's saying it now since he stepped down from VP. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
so we haven't put it out through social media yet because I'm afraid to start the conversation of what the spring is going to be like, because I don't know if we're going to have a spring football season.
Oh, doesn't that suck?
Yes.
Jen and I were just talking about how much we miss seeing those. I love watching our boys play football. It is so much fun.
That's
hearing the cracking of the pads and the helmets.
Yeah.
Oh man, it sucked. Really, that sucks though.
So, but the problem is, it's not that nobody wants to. Like, we're ready for it. We're prepared. If they said we're playing in a month, we're ready. Mm-hmm. The problem is we have nowhere to play because we're not allowed on school properties. So we don't have access to full 100-yard fields. And what is going to be the guidelines to having a season?
Right, yeah.
So high school was able to do it because they tested.
Yeah,
and
they're not going to test a bunch of little 5th and 6th graders.
If the testing is part of the requirement, then we would have to sign up for either testing 200 kids
Right.
at $63 a pop,
Which would bankrupt us.
which we couldn't do.
No.
As a nonprofit, we couldn't do. Ask the parents to do that, which I wouldn't do. And if that's the case, then okay, then we don't play and we get ready for a fall season if that goes on as normal. Now, what I'm starting to see through just doing some research last night is some states that in the fall said they were going to play in the spring have already said we're not doing full contact in the spring. Because
This sucks.
yeah, they'll do non-contact sports like baseball, softball,
Right, yeah.
all
And it
that
makes
stuff.
sense.
But contact
Basketball.
sports, they are not doing. So it's going to be a trickle-down effect because states. You look at the states that were ready to stand firm on their high school football. They played. Texas.
They moved the needle.
Yeah, oh yeah. Texas, Ohio, Georgia.
Florida.
Florida
don't care about anything.
They played. So it's like, and part of Texas is just finished up. They waited, just because of how many different teams they have through their 7 different divisions.
Right.
But you know,
I'm curious to see how warmer months does impact it. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence that it kind of dropped off in the summer months,
yeah,
and then started picking up again in the fall. So, you know, that and the vaccines coming out now.
yeah.
I'm curious to see how it's going to affect it.
Courtney got her vaccine Tuesday.
How was her experience?
Fine. She went. We had to go downtown to the Cleveland Clinic, and she got there. She said she had to wait in line for like 20 minutes, and then they made her sit down for a half hour after she got it to make sure she didn't get sick or anything.
Right, right.
When she got back to the car, I was playing Zombie for her on the radio. But yeah, we made sure she didn't turn into a zombie, and she was all good. She didn't get sick from it.
Good.
I think she said she goes back mid-February for the second round. I could be wrong on that, but
I hope that curbs it.
yeah, as a frontline worker, you know, she needed it. She's
Yeah,
considered.
absolutely.
Is she a socialist now? She just came home and gave all your stuff away.
No, the socialist chip goes in on the second round.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, so she's got her vaccine, and hopefully she gets. I don't know if I should be saying this or not. I don't think any of her bosses or whatever are listening. So she's pertinent to certain information that doesn't really go out to news sources. It's internal to her hospital, the company she works for, which is one of the biggest one in the world. And she gets the real data of ICU usage, availability, and the comforting thing is when the news was saying everything's spiking, it was right. Everything was spiking for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it is unhurt from what she's being told and seeing. It's coming back down again, and
Good.
Some of it could just be, you know, getting through the holidays. Vaccines starting to help.
Right.
We'll see. But no, I'm with you. I don't know. I don't know how football looks. We have a meeting next Monday to kind of talk about it.
I feel terrible for the high school students,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously they're testing. I would assume a lot of the high schools, but that's a huge expense, just a pain.
Mm-hmm.
And do they do the nostril test every time they do that? That is terrible. Have you
No.
you been tested?
No.
I haven't been tested at all.
Oh, you had it.
Yeah,
You had
I did
COVID.
have it. I did have it. They shoved this Q-tip like 18 inches into the back of your nose.
Back of your brain.
It's terrible. Terrible.
So,
I did have it.
okay. When did you have any of the symptoms?
Mine was very mild.
Did you lose
I
smell
didn't-
or taste or anything?
I did not lose smell or taste. I don't have good smell anyways.
Okay.
my wife would be like, "Don't you smell it?" I'm like, "No, I don't." I think I just fried my
That's why your
nose-
farts don't stink.
You're right, exactly.
I don't know what you're gagging about over there.
Hey, you're so dramatic, Jen.
No, I the ways that I felt it, my lower back and my legs were sore for like 2 days, and then I had a fever one evening, like through the night, but it was like an 8-hour fever. I didn't even like get my temperature. I was just burning up at night. And then what was the other? So soreness, and then I forget what the other symptom.
Trouble
was.
breathing or anything? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I felt like I had like fluid in my lungs. Like I've had pneumonia before. It was like a slight feeling of pneumonia. But that was my experience. I was very glad that mine wasn't more, because there was other cops that got, it took them out. It was, they felt a lot worse than I did. So
that's the weirdest part about this. There's
it's
no
so
consistency
weird.
amongst any age group. Just you could have basic symptoms, and I could be knocked out, and one of us could be in the ICU, and the other one could be like, I had a cough for a day.
Because you hear about young men in their 30s having being so affected that it'll prevent or affect them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Worse than smoker's lung and stuff. Yeah. So and honestly, COVID's kind of why when I was going in for auxiliary stopped.
Oh yeah.
Because the COVID stopped our training.
Right.
And then they're like, well, we can kind of push your paperwork through without the training if you want. And that didn't make me feel great, but it's like, okay, so I would avoid getting tased, which I was okay with, and avoid the mace.
Pepper spray's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
And then firearms training, but I have my CCW, so I didn't even need to
very good.
to do that one anyways. And then, so like I had the conversation with Courtney, like here I am, I'm the breadwinner in the house. My job is telling me stay home, work from home, and I've felt like I would have done a disservice to my real job if I would have gone out as auxiliary and contracted it, and like here I am now, I'm on the shelf for a couple weeks because I was doing this in my free time while you're doing what you're doing for me to keep me safe. So it sucked because it was something I really, really, really want to do. Not like wanted, I still want to do it.
Yeah, you can do it in the future still then.
Yeah, and Chief was real cool about it, and he said that door's always open. And
awesome. So yeah, that'd be fun. It'd be some fun for you.
That'd be on nights with you.
Yeah.
Anytime you need cones laid down, you just call me. We're just traffic cops.
Can I just be the guy that follows along and videos this?
That's fine. You know what? I would want Ryan with me because they don't let you take anything that could be considered lethal as an auxiliary because we're not covered under the insurance or anything like that.
Beating somebody to death.
Well, you get an ASP, so like one of those little batons. You can beat somebody with one of that, but
yeah.
And like after a year or two, then you can carry a taser, but you can't carry anything lethal. I'm like,
that makes
what?
Sense. Just like other things. Well,
to who? You're still putting on a uniform and you're driving cars that look like cops.
Okay, yeah, I get that. I guess that's true. I'm thinking auxiliary, like you're working, like you said, you're setting up cones, you're doing basic.
You are, but you got to tell some drunk asshole at a concert that he's got to stand behind the line, and he sees you in a uniform. He'll say, "Fuck you,"
right, because you don't have the taser.
No pig,
right?
And boom, now here we goes.
Well, I think that goes
pepper spray all over, getting all over yourself.
Yeah, I can't see, I can't breathe, get my ass kicked.
Dude, that is terrible. That is a terrible experience. It's fun seeing other people.
Really
do it,
want
though.
a video that you're going through that for the brain.
We should practice before that.
That's fine.
Just to make sure.
Let's do it. Let's do it. We'll tase Aaron. You can spray me.
Oh God. If you do it to me, who's going to video
See,
it?
I didn't have to get tased.
GoPros.
I didn't have to get tased.
No?
I've been tased twice, and that was because a partner of mine tased the guy I was fighting with. I didn't know he tased him. I just didn't hear the taser. Jumped on him, and if you connect to those prongs, then you're taking the ride too. And that was quite a shock, going in for like a bear hug of some dude and riding the lightning.
That's funny.
What was the other time?
But same circumstance, fighting with somebody, and then another time I was fighting with the guy and I heard taser. I jumped off that guy as quick as I could.
Did one of your guys say it, or did he say it as you were fighting him?
No. Another cop did.
So if for everybody listening, if you're ever getting wrestled by a cop, just scream taser, 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 and they'll jump off you.
I will.
That was fun. That was fun training, though. The officers that were there to provide the training were awesome.
Good.
They, since we're not saying who it is, there were a couple guys that were on duty that came in and were like, we're going to do this quick and easy. You're out of here. This is the basics.
Good.
I'm on shift. Because they felt, there's value in training.
Oh, absolutely.
How has your training at the station increased at all with all this? Have they?
So I'm very proud of our department. We have always invested a lot into training as a department, which I think is a big part of it, is knowing how to handle high stress situations. And we have always, I think we lead the state in the amount of time we train.
Which is good.
And so not a lot has changed for us. Obviously, conversations have changed. And, like the use of social media, a big thing surrounding this is humanizing the badge and letting them know, we're human too. Human too.
I've noticed that with the Instagram account.
Yeah. So it's been fun because it's a way that people can see us in a positive light. They're not just seeing... They see some of the good work we do, because one of the important things about media is, how can I say it? Being educated and learning. Yeah. But then you can get that, what's it called, where all you see is the bad things. Sensationalism, where all you're seeing is the negative sides of certain aspects of society. So it's important, if you're being flooded, to not be just flooded with one thing or another. You have the good, unfortunately, our failures are important to be broadcasted because there needs to be transparency. There needs to be accountability for what we're doing. But at the same time, there needs to be transparency and accountability for the positive ways that we're responding in society. So we're taking different approaches, and I think it's an amoeba. You're always learning, you're always growing, you're always changing, whether that be tactics or social media platforms or whatever. But, we're trying to refine.
Yeah.
Trying to sharpen the knife. So
how is Ryan, the husband, dealing with all of this? Are you able to leave it in the car when you get home? Is it open communication with the wife on, things you're dealing with, things like when you just have shitty days because you're dealing with shitty people?
That's something Jen has asked me before, so how was your day? I was like, yeah, it was pretty good. You just, we work long shifts. So, and then I'd be going through my day and I'd be like, man, I saw some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, it's not a normal day. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So sometimes I just forget about stuff. It's not like you're trying to or anything like that. But I don't have a hard time talking about stories, because I see the value in it. You can't keep stuff trapped inside your mind. So it's, I enjoy it. I've been fortunate in my career to be able to do a lot of different things. Yeah, I get bored doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that I've been able to kind of keep it fresh, in what I've been doing. But actually leaving Narco was very hard because that was my dream job. And so closing the chapter on that, I was ready for it because I was burnt out, I was tired, but it was also hard knowing that, those years are behind me now. But I was also really excited. I felt like a cop again. I went 5 years without feeling like a cop. And so just even going to gas stations was weird again, to roll up in a cruiser and get out in uniform and people are looking at you or waving or, just
right.
Their presence is known. A cop's presence is known wherever it goes, whether it's outside Walmart and people are flying down Levitt Road or, whatever. So Nope, I probably shouldn't have said that location. If we can cut that, I was doing so good too.
That's okay.
No,
I think I fucked up and said the 2 towns that were near, so whatever.
You haven't said anything bad yet.
No. And this, honestly, this is, I hope a lot of locally based people listen to this that don't know you, that may have an opinion one way or another on police, and it is what it is, and I hope they listen and realize that they don't have to be terrified, because there are awesome people that are looking out for the betterment of them in the community. It's good.
Yeah, so you want to talk about the potential upcoming range day we got?
Ooh,
dude. Okay.
Let's do it.
So there's a couple places in town that I'm trying to get us access to.
Yes.
So one of the guys I know, he's SWAT and police way out east, and he's actually hosting an event at Northeast Ohio Tactical.
Ooh, yeah, that place is
at
cool.
Baumhart.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do, if they do anything for the public, or if it's all through private and you have to book time and whatnot. If that's the case, I'm working on one more private land for us to go to and just have, excuse me, like a range day. It's just video and, what's your setup? What are you rolling with? Let's do, shot competitions and,
yeah,
time, draw and 6 fun stuff. So,
that'd be awesome. I love that stuff.
I like looking at all your guys' stuff.
I have 2 new.
What'd you get?
I got a 43X.
Ooh, yeah. All right.
Just because I didn't like carrying my 19.
Right.
I just printed all the time. It just made me nervous.
Yeah.
So I got a 43X, and then I bought a Mossberg Maverick 88 shotgun.
Which one is that?
So that's basically your poor man's 500.
Gotcha.
The only difference is the thumb safety. It's not a thumb safety. It's on the front of the trigger guard.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just a 12 gauge pump.
Fun.
But yeah, I just want to get out and just blow stuff up. I was at the range last week. I went because I wanted to shoot the 43 and shoot the 19, and I shot like shit, and I'm pissed. So now it's like, okay, I really want to keep practicing. It's just so expensive because of ammo prices.
It's very hard to find ammo in places to shoot. We went to the range a few months back, and I shot terrible. And it was like, I know how to shoot. I'm a good shot. And I was shooting very crappy. And I'm like, I haven't shot. I just don't ever shoot anymore, which is terrible. And it's one of those things that if you don't do, you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
For sure.
So it was super
time.
Yeah, it was super easy for me to come home and start looking up like, okay, how much is a slide cut and a red dot and stippling? And so like I have, I'm gonna catch so much shit for this. So I have the order form filled out for for a slide cut, an optic.
Who are you going with?
The buddy I know out east.
Oh, cool.
He does it himself.
Really?
I'll show you his stuff when we leave. Actually, I'll shout him out. Delta Strategic, stippling. He'll do Cerakote. He'll do slide cuts.
Everything. Does he have a CNC machine, or what does he have?
Yeah, he
that's awesome.
It's awesome. I'll show you his stuff. But so he has like a few different stippling patterns. So I have my stippling pattern picked out. We're gonna go with like it's like a battleship gray or something for the slide, because I love the two-tone look on the 43s.
Oh, I love it.
I call it the Mike Lowry, because in Bad Boys he's got the two-tone Glocks.
Oh, yeah.
You just can't find them anymore because they stopped making, when they first released the 43X, it came out with a silver slide, and then they stopped releasing those. So you can either find them for like $400 or you have to get yours painted.
Yep.
So I have Cerakote optic cut, the optic.
What optic are you going to go with?
The Holosun 507 CX2.
I love those.
So I have Holosun.
I've never shot one, but I like the concept of it.
I have the gold dot and the magnifier on my AR,
Okay.
And I actually had an issue with my first gold dot the first day I had it, and they had a new one to me with less than a week.
That's awesome.
So
I like the 507C because it has the shake awake.
Yes.
And the auto adjust. Those are two non-negotiables for me. If you're
Yes.
going to use it as a duty optic or a concealed carry, any form of like combat pistol, because you don't want to pull up on target and remember that you forgot to turn on your sight.
correct.
But
Kind of a big deal.
so I love. Yeah, I call mine the Gucci gun.
Yeah, dude, that's so I said it's my here's my Gucci Glock order.
This is the way I look at it. It's so unnecessary. It's not going to take a poor shooter and make them a good shooter, but it's fun. It's like
so
making
fun.
a race car.
Yes.
That you don't need it to go down the road to Myers, but it's just a lot of fun. And mine was a slippery slope. I fell into a Glock for a really good price. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna. I was shot one of those new SIGs that has a red dot built in. I was like, man, that was a lot of fun. It was fun. And then I looked at doing a red dot, just getting a cutout. I was like, well, if I get a cutout, I'm going to want to lighten the slide and get some mill work done. And then if I'm getting mill work done, it's going to look silly with a stock barrel. And if I have
Get yourself a Zev barrel.
aftermarket,
Yeah.
If I have an aftermarket,
Yes.
then I'm going to need a stipple. If I have a stipple, I need a trigger. And then next thing I
Yes.
know, I have redone everything
Yes.
on my pistol. I don't have one stock. I have and I even bought 2 compensators. So if you need a compensator, I have one at home. I'll sell you for cheap.
Okay.
But dude, I'll tell you what, it
So
shoots.
now I need a threaded barrel.
Exactly. It's a slippery slope.
No, dude, I'm
So much fun though.
I'm
Hope
with
at this
you.
point our wives are listening. Your wives. Huh?
See, mine's
Everything he
purchased in
just
the
said,
past.
just add $200.
Yeah.
Add $200 because
Yeah.
some are more than 200, but and some are less.
Yeah.
Like a good
They
trigger,
took the cash register. Cha-ching.
cha-ching. Yeah, add
Oh.
you know a good trigger $250, a good barrel $250.
I went to with the Trigicon RMR, and they didn't have the Hollow Sun. And Trigicar is really the benchmark. I mean, that's like the,
Trigicon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the standard. But they're expensive.
They are.
They're expensive.
Yep.
So Hollow Sun,
They're
I'm
new.
very intrigued.
I feel like they're slowly becoming one of the premium brands.
Yeah,
They were always looked at as
cheap Chinese.
cheap Chinese, right?
Yeah.
But their product is so good, and I'm a big fan of theirs. And the guy is a distributor for them, so his prices. If you look on their website right now, so the 507, the CX2 is like $350 on their website. You're nowhere near that when you go through him.
That's awesome.
So and I like, he's a veteran, he's military. I love what he's doing. I bought my AR through him.
Is he
and all the
like
optics and
Ohio
stuff. Yeah.
out east? Oh, very cool. Yeah, let's
It's not
support.
that. He's less than an hour from here.
Really, that's not
Yeah,
bad at all.
and he's quick shipping. So and he made me a deal on the price because I told him I'd drive it out because I didn't want to FFL transfer all the stuff out there.
Now, if because the stipple, yeah,
He's gonna need the lower.
yeah, and that's what is tracked. Mm-hmm. I just had I did my own stipple work on mine, which I was actually pleasantly surprised how good it looked.
You did it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I redid it 3 times, but
Is there any shit left?
yeah. And I did the undercut of the trigger.
Yeah.
And everything. Yeah. It's good enough for me. It looks above average. I saw a lot of pictures of people doing theirs, and it looks better than theirs. But
Do you have a sight pusher?
a what?
A sight pusher?
What do you mean by that?
So I want to change out the iron sights. Mm-hmm. The stock.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did that myself.
Even the rear?
No, on one of my guns, I did that on my Glock 19. My Gucci gun, I had them. I went through Primary Machine, who
Okay.
did my slide work, and they do an incredible job.
They give you elevated sights
No,
to be
I didn't
co-witness?
I didn't want elevated sights. Now, if it was a combat gun, I would have elevated sights. But since it was just like a target pistol,
Yeah.
I didn't want it eating up more of an already small Trigicon sight window.
So they don't co-witness.
No, they don't
Okay.
co-witness. But you can see, and the way I look at it, most law enforcement shootings are within like 7 feet now. I think it used to be 10,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like 7 feet now. It's absurdly close, and most of them are like one hand shooting.
Real close.
Yeah, because you're going to be fighting with your like offhand and shooting with your right hand, and so at that point it doesn't matter. And I mean, we could talk tactics, but where I really see the true application of a red dot where I really think it could be beneficial is where you have threats, people with their hands in their pockets, where now you are trying to focus on their hands because you want to be able to see their hands, because you want to be able to differentiate if it's a cell phone or a gun. But you also want to have your sights on picture. So a red dot allows you to really easily focus with both eyes open on target, all while being able to. So that keeps the public safe. Hopefully, prevents us from shooting people with coming out with the cell phone. And then long distance shooting. They say it's really beneficial having that red dot.
I got some videos
on
to
a
show
pistol.
you, my buddy, from 190.
Oh yeah,
One-handed 190.
See,
It's so stupid. That was actually with a custom 917. So I'll show you these guns. It's crazy,
I would have 100 guns if they didn't cost money,
dude. this
That's my
one
only
guy.
holdback.
Oh,
I've said it before. Is I just have 30 other things I want to buy.
I know. I just bought some new tools too. I bought
How about these damn cards? That's another thing. Whatever. That market's hot, but
I'm
Is
not
it
buying
really?
anything because I'm laid off. So.
yeah.
getting the 43X allowed me to be like, okay, what do I want to do with the 19?
I love
Especially
my
when I
19.
saw, so like, if you're somebody who's going to have guns for self-defense, right? So you obviously have made that decision that something bad could happen. So if you're going to prepare yourself for something bad to happen, why not prepare yourself for anything bad to happen? And I watched a guy, he said one of the best benefits he's seen so far for a red dot, other than target acquisition, was the ability to reload and then rack
It's
one-handed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you
That's
could
another-
use your holster and the red dot to rack. I'm like, shit, that's
Yeah,
sweet.
I didn't even think about that because it really does. I mean, it's so
Mm-hmm.
easy to get that red dot snagged on something to be able to recycle.
Yep.
That's a good thought too.
That doesn't mess up the sight.
No, they're screwed in.
Well, it probably wouldn't. But again, at that point, if you're doing that, like I probably wouldn't do that in training.
Obviously, your
'Cause I don't like
your other
destroying-
hand is obstructed by something.
Yeah, whether it be like shot or fighting. But
Right.
that's a good thought.
See, that's why you can't go cheap with this shit either, because it could cheap optics move. You lose zero all the time. Most of the time, people are like, you can get the same thing for $50 on Amazon, and that stuff's designed for airsoft with no recoil.
Oh, and it wiggles like crazy.
Yes.
It'll wiggle out of
Right.
zero.
I have the conversion kit for the Glock 19, the MCK Roni.
Oh yeah, that thing's cool.
That it's awesome, but I won't shoot it a lot, so I threw a cheap one on there. Plus, it's only 9mm, so it
Exactly.
won't. It doesn't kick that much, anyways. That thing's fun to shoot. It
My
sucks
AK
to clean.
pistol, I have a cheap red dot on it. I would like to get a nicer one, but again, that's money.
Yeah.
Dude, my AK is my fun gun. Mm-hmm. It's just
I'm surprised you're not shooting that the most, because that's the only ammo you can find. That's
really
you can find 5.56 in bulk for like $800 a case.
it's stupid.
80 cents a
It
round.
It should be like 300.
Yeah. Nine mil is $650 to $750 for a case.
That's insane. I mean, a few years ago, I think 5.56 was probably like 400 or 500.
If
Now
that.
Yeah, and now it's 250 to 300 was 9mm in bulk.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So when we set something up, we'll have you in. Jason wanted in. Ben. So we talked a little bit about it with Ben on the two beers one podcast episode. Right after we talked about it, the next couple days he was sending me pictures and texts. He broke out he had an MNP 15 with the old handguard.
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
like, what kind of attachments can we get on here? I'm like, it's really tough to put it.
Everything?
Well, everything if you upgrade from a handguard to a handrail.
Yeah, because you can
Which
get
he
those
did.
little. You can get those. Yeah.
And a new gas system, and he went nuts.
Has more income than all of us.
That's okay. I had gun parts show up today. I just got
So
the thing.
when you're listening to this, Ben, you're behind the ball. You should take in some of that sugar daddy money that you got from your wife, and
He needs a $2,000 Glock.
Gucci
That's
Glock.
yeah,
Yeah.
Come on, Ben, step it up.
Anybody who wants to argue with me that it's totally unnecessary, I'd say I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
You can't
But
argue.
I'm one of those guys. Oh, I would not argue. It is totally unnecessary, but it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want every gun, but where I've wanted to invest is into like attachments and stuff. Because I don't know, I probably have like 10 or 12 guns. Between I have a M4, real nice one, or an AR-15 if you will, AK pistol, AK variant pistol if you want to be technical, and then a few pistols and stuff like that. But I don't have a crazy amount of guns. But I like investing into ammo and into attachments. Because it's like you can only shoot one gun at a time.
Yeah.
So these guys who have like every different Glock, I'm like, why do you have every Glock?
Now you need every type of ammo.
Right.
What good is it to you?
See, to me, like, my biggest argument was, what do I get, the 26 or the 43X? Like, I won't get both. And guys are like, just get both. They have different, different dimensions. You'll see what's... It's like, I don't...
The 26 is the same as a 19. It's still going to print just as much as a 19. So I think you were right in going with the 43X.
It was either the 43X or the 48. So the 48 has a longer slide. So less recoil.
Right.
It might be a little bit more accurate, but...
I have the 43. I have the 42 and the 43. And that 42 is so nice. It's a 380.
I was going to say that's 380, right? Yeah.
There's that argument, but when I'm wearing something where I want it to disappear, I grab that. Winter, the 43 is nicer. It's getting... the reason why I don't carry a lot is just because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so I would rather carry a 380 and carry it than...
To not have anything.
Yeah. So with the times I feel like that, just... where I have to like make the conscious effort to carry, I'll grab the 42.
You know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing less and less no firearms allowed signs at stores, because that's what I go off of, like if I'm allowed to carry in the store or not.
Right, that's a good point. Yeah.
So at least that's been nice.
Does your wife shoot?
She has shot. She's actually a really good shot. She shot my Gucci gun and did really well. I took a Ryland shooting the other day, and he did awesome.
Nice.
She's shot just a handful of times.
Okay. Not afraid of it, though. Like,
no.
We'll do it, just not her thing.
Yeah. Again, I don't shoot a lot, so...
There's not a lot of places to shoot.
I know. It's so unfortunate.
It makes me want to join that club your dad's in.
Yeah. I'm waiting for you to do that.
They have a pistol range. That's nice. And then they have 50... They have 100 that with a 50-yard setup, and then they have a 300.
Where is that at?
Right by Lowry's.
Yeah, I wanted to join that place.
Let's do it.
I thought about doing that and then just didn't get around to it. That's a really nice facility out there.
It's like $180 for the year or something.
But your first year is like $500.
Yeah. It's a very...
That's the most reasonable.
I thought it was reasonable. If I had long guns and was like going to go do that, I would do it.
Mm-hmm. That place is awesome.
Yeah. I was really impressed when we went down there.
I should become a member there.
Yeah. That's the only place to
then
do.
I'm going to burn through all my ammo.
Right.
So off when we're done recording, I'll compare stockpiles, because I'm starting to feel nervous after practicing twice and going through my...
Dude, it's unbelievable how you can go from like a filled ammo can to like almost empty.
Well, with self-defense rounds, I was asking you, like, dude, do you have anything laying around? I can't find hollow points anywhere.
It's crazy. Crazy.
I got some from you that are still... no, they're in my 19. But then I hit a jackpot at Dunham's, but they were like, 2-box max. But I walked up with all of them. She's like, 2-box max. I'm like, oh. And she just ran them all out.
Yeah, they don't
thank
care.
you so much.
Thank you.
So we will definitely get something going.
Yeah.
It's just that'll make for good content. That'll make for a fun day.
Get the weather to cooperate, and everybody's schedule will be the biggest thing.
Schedules are stupid.
Be super cool if we could get one of the places around here to sponsor that and throw in some ammo. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Make that happen. Make that happen.
We'll do what we can.
Yeah. I'll video. Unless you want me to shoot my shotgun at something.
No, I want you to shoot our guns
I will shoot your gun.
so that you buy one.
I'm
Dude, it
looking
is
at
so-
350 Legends right now.
You need more than that.
I got to start somewhere, Phil. Remember, I'm on a budget. You know my wife.
Dude, it's so awesome.
They're only like $100 for an AR, right, guys?
Yeah,
right.
$100, $75 to $100, depending on top line is like 125.
She can hear right through your bullshit.
It's so nice having Aaron at my son's sporting events because his photography is incredible,
isn't it?
I use my iPhone, whatever I had at the time, and all blurry, and then you have these beautiful shots coming in. It's awesome.
Dude, and I'm on the field, so I can't have my phone out.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
Part of what I enjoy the most about our football days is going home and wait. I text him like, when them pictures coming up? He's like, chill, asshole. I got 1,100 pictures to upload.
Yeah, when we have a whole day shooting, there's a lot to go through.
Absolutely.
All of our content is captured by him. All of our stuff on YouTube, it's put together by him. So for those of you out there, give Aaron a little love. He does awesome stuff.
I'm looking forward to getting into baseball season, to getting pictures of these kids back on the field. Yeah. And football for sure.
And different colors. Different colors.
It's going to be weird to see him in blue.
No, it is going to be weird.
Oh my God. I'm so excited that Ryland's on our team this year. Fuck, that's
football.
So cool.
Football is one of my things now that I'm not coaching, because I only can really coach to a second grade level in that I can go and do my shots, because the action shots are just so good. Baseball is fun to shoot, but when you shoot
so
pictures,
much slower.
It's not even that. The problem is every one of these fields that these kids play on is different. And if I have, the ability to shoot from the outfield because they've got a low home run fence, it makes a difference. If I don't get to the field early enough and get the angle right at the batter's box, no matter what, I'm shooting through fence.
Right, yeah.
So from a photographer standpoint, it's like I really don't know what I got till I'm done with the day. If I get up and walk around,
right, and
then it's like, I was trying to do those photography collages that I do for everybody this summer on the team that Ben's playing on, and I was like, I don't have pictures of so and so and so and so. I got to come out on the field in warm-ups to just get these shots of them throwing the ball or catching the ball, because I don't know if in the game the ball's going to get hit to them.
Yeah.
So I love shooting baseball, but football definitely is the most fun to get.
Didn't you say most of the kids had their eyes closed when you got them?
In baseball, you'd be amazed how many kids shut their eyes when they swing the bat.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I know I did when I was a kid.
Good hitters.
Really?
Bat, eyes closed, swinging. I'm like, come on. Killing me.
So interesting.
It's a fun hobby. I like doing it. I like putting it out there for everybody.
Are you guys bringing the whole family to Ocean City?
Trying to, yeah.
That's
what we plan on.
Yes.
We're really excited about
that is. I can't wait for that trip.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
We've talked about it, like putting the wives in a car and sending them down and letting them have the kids, so then the guys can all go down together. We've talked about carpooling somehow, but that's a tournament I can't wait for.
We're so excited. So Ryland has always had baseball and football, and then Carson we just got him. He's getting to the age where we're wanting to find what he's passionate about, and so we have him in an American Ninja Warrior class.
I saw that.
No
Where's
way.
that at?
It's in Avon. Avon or Avon Lake.
I don't know about that right now.
Dude, it is so awesome. He's doing these things where they go on those jump on those little pads, and then they hit this trampoline, and he does a backflip. He loved it.
I can't tell you how many times it's on at the house.
The instructors are so good. First off, Jen follows him on Instagram. I wish I knew everything about them, because I'd love to give the shout out. But these guys, they have videos of them doing these side flips and spins. I'm like, they're legit. And that's encouraging, because you want to know that they are coaching to an ability that you'd be pleased seeing your son or daughter at someday. And these guys are incredible. And he is just having a lot of fun. He has his second one coming up this Sunday. So
I saw that. I was like, what? I didn't even know that was a thing. And that is totally
it's
from seeing the rest of your Instagram posts, and you guys building the thing the rock wall in the backyard. And
it's Carson, man.
Yeah, when our boys go over swimming or whatever in the summer, and they're like, we were jumping off this and doing that, and whatever. I'm like, it's just like you, and
you can rebel, you can try and put a rein on it, or
safely feed it into.
Exactly, how can we make this as safe as possible? Because he's going to do it regardless.
Let's
So,
make sure that they don't jump off the roof.
We're gonna build. Well, we hang out with the Parsons too, and
Yeah,
that house is crazy. It's
Yes.
so much fun, and they have rope swings over their pool. So we're gonna make a platform this year. So again, they jump off the handrail, which is not safe.
Right.
So we're gonna build a little platform
for them to.
jump off.
Yeah.
So
Have you seen?
control chaos.
So I was telling my parents about this last night. Are you familiar with the guy on Instagram, social media, Dude Dad?
Doodad?
Dude
Doodad. No.
Okay, you should
I'll have
check
to
him
look
out.
him up.
He's got a couple kids. I'm sure you've seen a video of him somewhere, but his whole like shtick is, he just wants to be. To me, he's the mindset of you and Russ, and like we're not gonna prohibit this. We're gonna try and feed this, and we're gonna build crazy things for our kids to enjoy life with.
Yeah.
Where he just has, they just released a show on that Discovery Plus, which is a paid subscription service that he has, and it's like one of these home improvement makeover shows, but it's him going to other people's houses who don't know how to build things.
That's awesome.
And they're like, well, what are your kids into? And I'd only watched like 5 minutes of the episode, and the dad's like, well, the dad was a widower, he had 4 kids.
Oh, man.
And his sister, who lived down the street, had a bigger backyard, and they were like, we're into skateboarding and bikes, and you can see the wheels clicking. He's like, we're building a skateboard ramp. And the guy was like, that's awesome. And he's like, and you're helping. And the dad has like no idea how to use tools or whatever.
Oh,
So
that's
like
cool, though.
the whole show is them telling the story of the kids and the family, and it's very family oriented,
Dude,
but it
that's a
feeds
fun show.
into that, like, like you said, let's not prohibit riding a bike and jumping it off something. Let's figure out a way for you to do this safely. And because all kids want to do that, especially if you have multiples. There's one wild one in the bunch.
Oh, always. Oh, it's fun.
Yeah. Parsons' house is nuts.
I love it. I'm telling you,
Every summer it's something just more and more crazy. You're
whether it's a zip line or the pool or
let's put the pool
rope.
next to the
Next to the
tree
zip line?
house.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I remember a couple years ago I went over there and he was putting Christmas lights or something. He had Anderson on the roof with him, and Anderson was just standing like this 3-year-old just up on the roof like, hi. And I'm like, he goes, he won't jump. Because he's not the one that would do that.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
That's why I love him.
I hear the plastic.
How you holding up, Morgan?
I feel like my tooth is wiggling.
Feel like your tooth is wiggling?
Your tooth is wiggling.
Should I try and pull it out?
No.
Did you know Jace lost 2 teeth this week?
What?
Yeah. He lost his first 2 teeth this
She's
week.
so excited to lose a tooth.
Tooth Fairy's going to come then.
Hey, Morgan, we'll leave soon, sweetie, okay?
Yeah, we're about ready to wrap this up.
Yeah, we're almost
Here.
done talking.
You can sit in here, but you gotta turn that down, okay?
Morgan, you want to say anything into the microphone? You want to talk into it at all?
You want to say something?
Come on. You tell us what your name is.
Nope.
All of a sudden she gets bashful.
Yeah.
We'll be out there
Time
soon.
is it now?
What time is it?
Well, she said I turned it down.
Oh, you turned down.
You said I could stay if I turned it down.
Here, go sit out there for a few more minutes, okay?
We're
sweetie?
almost done.
Most of that is going to make the episode.
Yeah.
Just
it's
so
too
you
good
know.
not to.
I hope so.
Just so you know. But no, for real, thank you for this.
Yeah.
We will have you on more. We'll get into other stuff, especially, as we get into baseball, football, we could talk about, we could talk about sports. We could talk about whatever. Anytime we can have you on to chat, we're in.
I
I'm
appreciate
sure
it.
Robert has a bunch of questions as well. It's unfortunate he wasn't able to make it today.
I was thinking, I'm not always completely clear with my thoughts in the way I communicate them, but I am learning every day how to be a better man, how to be a better cop, soldier, father, husband, and I have a lot of struggles in the day-to-day. Just like everybody does. And I question things. I question parenting. There will be so many times where I'm just like, Jen and I will look at each other and we'll be like, what the heck are we doing? Are we even doing this right? Are we going to mess up these kids? So I appreciated your compliments at the beginning. I don't feel like a super dad.
You are super dad.
To other dads.
Yes.
I appreciate that compliment. I am not, I think it's easy in life when you only get a glimpse. You're not
For sure.
You're not seeing me at the low points in my house when Jen and I are screaming at each other, or I'm screaming at the kids, or whatever. And so I'm very much on this journey of I'm just trying to figure out this life. I'm just trying to take it day by day and be a better me every day. And I'm learning. I'm not perfect.
That's all you can do.
I'm very flawed. I appreciate being around a lot of good people that have helped me in this journey, whether it's family, whether it's friends. And I think that's just as big of a testament to anything. And obviously you guys too, faith is huge, just having that in the day in and day out. I mean,
when are we going back to in-person service at GLC, bro?
I don't know.
I go 2
man.
weeks and then you shut us down.
I did.
Isn't that what we shut down for? He said somebody had COVID and this guy was out with COVID.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, you shut us down, bro.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's my bad.
Are you guys still doing youth on Wednesday nights?
We have still been doing youth. And
What time is that over with?
It's like, it's not every Wednesday, and with COVID, we've been a little bit more selective when we've done it. But it's normally like 6:30 to 8 o'clock, and so our sons will be in it next year, which I'm very excited about.
Okay, I was going to ask, is Rylan in that now, or
so they're in fifth grade. It's sixth grade.
Sixth grade
when that starts. So Rylan's really excited about that.
Good.
That we got some. It's so much fun. The youth we have are. It's just cool. It's cool seeing.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even touch on that. You and Jen are youth leaders at the church, and
yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We got some really special youth that it's just been one of those joys that we've been able to hang out with them and hopefully impact them, and they impact us, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm very much on this journey of just trying to grow, just day in and day out. I'm a very opinionated person. And I was talking to my wife earlier. She's like, "You think you're right?" I'm like, "Of course I think I'm right. I wouldn't believe what I believe if I didn't think I was right." But I also know my perspective is my perspective. And over the years, as I've learned about myself, mental health, society, I'm nowhere near where I was 3 years ago, and definitely not 10 years ago. So I look forward to growing. I enjoy conversation. I don't enjoy arguing to argue, but I really enjoy conversation and bouncing my ideas off of other people. So I'm very much an unfinished product. So
we all are.
Absolutely. And
when we're done with this, I'll teach you how to get on your phone and listen to this.
Yeah.
So
it's like you post. I posted that thing yesterday with the rubber ducks and the thing, and you're like, "Did we peak then?" I'm like, "I hope not."
Yeah,
like,
right.
No.
He posted something when the boys won the coach pitch championship. And like, you think back, that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And how simple times were.
Isn't that crazy?
And now it's so complicated and so just
even complicated from a baseball perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, why did it was just so easy then?
Yeah. Now
But I don't want to peak then. We're not. Yeah, it was a peak. We have a little down point. It's just like the stock market's going to go back up again.
Absolutely. Rise and fall.
Yeah, we'll get through it. We'll continue to better ourselves, and we're definitely going to have you back because I want to talk to you more about what you just alluded to, the leadership in the church part and all that part as well.
Yep,
So,
I'd love to. I enjoy that part.
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, so thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for coming in today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And, stay tuned for more.
Until next time.
Until next time.